Hey guys, I'm gonna make this video called Evolution, a Sad Joke, because that's exactly what evolution is. The claims that they use to support their theory are nothing more than either totally ruined experiments that have so many holes in it, it looks like Swiss cheese, or it's just simply not true at all. Or even it contradicts itself and breaks its laws of physics and all this other nonsense. They never tell you any of this on the surface value, but yeah, they just like smooth it over and sugarcoat it and feed it to you. And everyone takes it at face value. It's retarded. Anyway, I was recently in high school and I have my UPCO book, which is basically what they gave us to go over biology and evolution and stuff, and I loved it. But as I got older and I grew in Christ, I realized all the different things and all the wrong things that they try to prove it with. Like Haeckel's drawings of the embryo. They supposedly went through the stages of all the different animals that led to where we are today. And Haeckel actually got kicked out of his own university in 1874 for this. But yet we still have it in our textbooks 200 years later. It's pretty crazy. It's really disturbing, actually, if you think about your kids being fed lies purposefully. Come on. The peppered moth experiment. I remember that. Well, anyway, this dude in England, for about 40 years, paid by the government, named Kettlewell. He basically found no proof for evolution and wasn't able to deduct anything reasonable, or their experiments and observations didn't really work out the way they thought they would. So what they did is they found two dead moths, right? And they pinned them on a tree trunk. One was white and one was brown. And they said, look, this is proof for evolution. And basically they didn't tell anyone, and even in the textbooks it doesn't say that they're dead and pinned down. It doesn't tell you anything about any part of the experiment or how they found them. It was just trying to prove that they evolved because of the color and variation came up. Which is true, variation does come up. Just because a person's black doesn't mean it's different species, doesn't mean they're evolving. Just because I have brown hair and my mom has yellow, doesn't matter. We're not different species, and I'm not more evolved than her. It's ridiculous. Anyway, they try to prove the different color as in, wow, they're adapting. Look, the brown ones are less likely to get eaten by birds. But that's false, because anyone that knows anything about moths is that they come out at night. You know what eats at night? Bats. Do you know what bats use? Sonar. Doesn't matter what color you are, you could be pink. It's silly. It's silly. That proof is silly. It's even more silly that he actually had to kill them and stick them on a tree trunk. The peppered moth doesn't even sleep at the bottom of the tree. It sleeps on the top. It's ridiculous. He just kills moths and says this is proof for evolution. It's stupid. And that's in the books. It's in the textbooks. The Stanley Miller experiment, where he made amino acids in the lab and called it life. That's like getting a chicken breast and calling it a live chicken. It wasn't even as complicated as a chicken breast. It's like getting a string out of a shirt and saying, look, I have a shirt. It's stupid. Not only that, but in his own experiment, he had to stop the experiment earlier. Otherwise, it would have destroyed the amino chain that he made. Yeah. He did this experiment without water and without oxygen. And he did that because the second oxygen or water were introduced, water has oxygen, by the way, it would have oxidized his amino chain and it would have ruined it. It would have destroyed his amino chain. Yeah. So the way they try to work around that is they basically said, oh, well, early foundations of life didn't have free air, free oxygen like we do today. Yes, sir, kids, billions and billions of years. Wow. No. Even on the deepest layers of rock layers, we find oxidized rock. And plus, if we only did have a hydrogen surface, like in the Stanley Miller experiment, what he was trying to prove, the Earth wouldn't have the amount of gravity it would need to hold on to hydrogen. It still doesn't today. If we didn't have an ozone layer around, the hydrogen would just fly out because we wouldn't be able to hold on to it. So that's silly. It's silliness. I also want to talk about fossils and fossil evidence for evolution, because that's another misconception they like to use. I love it when they try to date things and they say carbon dating. Yeah. They're like 20,000 different ways or different numbers they could get for carbon dating the same material. Now, so how do they choose the number that they like? Well, they use what they call the geologic record. Where do they find one of those? It's in the textbooks. Well, where on earth can I find one? The textbooks. They don't have one place where the geologic column exists. So how did they make the geologic column? Well, they took the fossils and lined it up with the rocks and played mix match and used circular reasoning until they found the results that they wanted, and then they used the fossils to date the rocks and the rocks to date the fossils. And then when they get a general estimate of what fits in their theory, that's what they put in the textbooks. It's honestly ridiculous. I feel so bad for anyone that believes in this. And especially in the transitional species, or when they find the missing links, like Lucy. Lucy has been disproven long ago, like 20, 30 years ago. What it was, is a monkey's hand and like a human's femur. I don't remember exactly what body parts, so I'm not going to tell you. But not only that, were they different from different animals. One was hundreds and hundreds of feet under the dirt, and the other, the hand, was literally a mile away, like a foot under dirt. How could you put that together and call it a missing link, call it science, and put it in a textbook for your kids to eat? Kids to eat, they eat it up, they love it. They get tested on it, it's stupid. This is what your state-funded school is pushing down your throat. And not only that, even on the deepest level and the most fundamental level, the Big Bang itself, it breaks the laws of physics. If anyone knows anything about the conservation of angular momentum, you know if something blows up, everything will be spinning the same way as the initial explosion. Like so. This one got cut off. But anyway, occasionally I'll have people telling me, well, yeah, but you see, it wasn't just one explosion, it was multiple explosions everywhere. And this one blew up and hit into that one, and that one blew up and hit into this one. That's why we have planets going backwards like Uranus and all these other things. And it's like, yeah, that would be nice if anything was bigger than the initial explosion. Nothing would be bigger than the initial explosion. There's no possible mathematical way where this could hit into that. No one way. That's why grenade fragments don't hit each other midair. There's nothing bigger than the initial explosion. Okay? There's nothing. That blows up. By the time that one reaches over here or down there, this one will be all the way out of the picture. It's impossible. It breaks the laws of physics. Yeah. So, I hope you like this video. God bless and have a good day.
Wow, wow, wow.